I can do some Tai Chi.
Yes, a way to start every show.
Hey everybody, I'm Ben Yee.
I'm Elissa Stein.
What's up?
We are going to talk a little bit about the public advocate role because it turns out you happen to be running.
Yes.
We talked about this in another episode about why Ben now dresses up, which makes me look even more dressed down, but it's Sunday night and it's like the holiday weekend, and so I'm wearing ripped jeans and my son's old shirt.
Trust me, I would prefer to be in your shoes.
But you came from something.
So to speak. Fancy shoes.
Mine are fancy too.
Oh, okay.
If you were in silver Stan Smiths, you'd be happy. It could be something to aspire to. Anyway,
yeah,
we digress.
After I'm elected to office.
You can wear silver metallic sneakers. That would be something new, and people would remember you. But what we're going to talk about in this segment is specifically what it is that the public advocate role is. Like, do you have an office? Do you have business cards? Do you have staff? Do you get a driver? Do you have security? Is your staff paid? I assume, of course,
free staff. Everybody works for free.
Which is kind of what life is like right now.
That's what people like. That's about those the government jobs.
So just sort of, to start off with, you're a public advocate. Do you have an office? Would you have an office?
So the public advocate does have an office. It's in the municipal building. And
Which is where?
Down across the street from City Hall. So if you look out and you see that big thing that looks like it's got the tower on top, and you're always like, wow, that looks cool. I wonder what's in that tower. That's the municipal building, and nothing's in the tower.
That I didn't know, but I've been at Gail Brewer's office.
Yeah.
So in the same office. Okay.
Yeah, right. Same building,
Cool
municipal building.
All right. So you have an office. Does the office come with staff?
Well, it depends how you look at it. The office comes with a budget, and the budget is set by the general budget. By what?
Oh, didn't you say the mayor sets the budget for
Right, it's set by the general budget, which is between the city council and the mayor.
Right.
But really the mayor comes up with, that's generally what they want. So right now it's about $3.2 million. It has fluctuated in the past depending on how much the mayor dislikes the public advocate.
Interesting.
When de Blasio was the public advocate, the mayor cut his budget, who was Bloomberg, didn't like it, cut de Blasio's budget. It's since been restored.
I'm going to quietly say, and this is shameful, but again, we all know that I didn't pay attention beyond 2 years ago and your workshops. I did not know Bill de Blasio is the public advocate.
That is one of the reasons that people view the public advocate's office as a stepping stone, because Bill de Blasio used it to become mayor, and it didn't impede him that his budget was cut.
Right. Okay. All right. So interesting. So it was Bill de Blasio. Tish James is the one who's leaving. Was there anybody in between?
Not in between. Before de Blasio was somebody named Betsy Gottbaum, and before that was Mark Green, and before that it didn't exist. It's only been since 1989. The charter of the city was changed because of a Supreme Court ruling about something called the Board of Estimates, and they abolished a bunch of things, including this thing called the President of the City Council, and they created the public advocate instead.
Oh, so interesting. So that's very interesting. Not what we're going to talk about, but very interesting. So there's a lump sum budget.
Yes.
And then the public advocate gets to decide how that will be spent.
Correct.
So if you wanted silver Mylar posters of yourself, you'd have the budget to do whatever you want. It's up to you to decide how to spend it.
A regular Jeff Pruitt, right? You could do whatever you wanted with the budget.
Which is really interesting. So is there anybody that you'd have to check in with on this? Like if you said, I want to have a staff of 10 and not spend money on anything else. I mean, they'd be well paid, but...
So right, they'd be very well paid. Yeah. So the public advocate currently has about staff of about 40.
40 people?
Yes.
40 people?
Yes.
40 people?
Yes.
So, well... I thought you were going to say 4. The 40 was really surprising. So, will they continue on in their roles, or are you going to hire 40 new people?
They're all appointed by the public advocate or hired by the public advocate. So it is completely dependent on who the public advocate is. If I were to be public advocate, for example, I'd have a very strong prioritization on people who really understand civics and government and are able to explain it and use it to empower other folks. Right. Other people might have a priority of hiring as many people as possible just to get them out into the community and just pay them, have salaries as low as possible to have as many people as possible. Right. It really depends on what your priorities are. Some of them, some people might view it as sort of Tish has done as a mini attorney general, and so you might have fewer staffers who are attorneys because they're more expensive, and so you can do all sorts of things like that.
So from this budget, then you decide on your staff, you decide on, certainly supporting local groups, but from this also comes like, I guess, literature that you might want to produce. Like,
Sure.
So this covers anything that you decide. If you want to, the public advocate wants to start a postcard campaign or run a television commercial or create films
Right.
about civics to educate kids in school, that would all come from your budget.
Right, assuming you couldn't get it donated or there weren't pre-existing infrastructure within the government to handle it, you could in theory go to the city council again for more money, but it's sort of, I think it's unlikely the city council
I'm
to
going to say
appropriate.
that. I just gave you a really good idea. And I think that you should do videos of your lectures about civics and about real politics to show in schools. Because kids are not taught this kind of stuff, and it's really important.
Absolutely.
And I think that there's so much disinterested and disinvolvement with teenagers because you don't learn these things.
Yeah.
But how great would it be to sit and show it in a social studies class and have a 20-minute film from the public advocate talking about how the system works.
I agree.
And then perhaps voter registration afterwards.
Well, there is one of my platform proposals called Civics for All. I could get into it another time, but yes, it's that sort of stuff, and having folks who are trained in that sort of stuff to go deliver it. But there are a few more things that the public advocate does or has the power to do that I just want to touch on real quick. They have several appointments to various boards, like the pension board and the campaign finance board. And so they have appointments to various boards and commissions throughout the city. The new Civic Engagement Commission that's supposed to be coming along, they'll have an appointment to that as well, for example.
Is that the one that we just voted on in the last election?
Yes, correct. I could get into it.
Okay, I just have to say, like, whoa.
You're on top of it.
That even surprised me, but cool.
And then technically the office of the public advocate is meant to do things, it was envisioned as doing two things. One being a counterbalance to the mayor, although obviously the office was not necessarily ascribed the powers you would think of something that would be a counterbalance, especially considering that the budget can be reduced by the mayor.
Right. But I guess you could angry tweet or something.
Yes.
Which could get a lot of attention.
Well, I mean, I think there are concrete things the public advocate can do to build power for communities, and in building power for other people, build power for public advocacy, but a whole other conversation. And then the other thing it's meant to do is be an ombudsman, which is a long word for saying field or act as a liaison between government and constituents or residents. And one could argue that the public advocate has done this more or less successfully, and like what that's supposed to mean. Part of what makes the public advocate's role amorphous is that particular idea is really broad.
Sure, I guess it's what different people would bring to the table.
Exactly. And so without any real concrete institutions within the public advocate's office, it becomes very difficult for people to say definitively what this office is supposed to do.
Right, so you're kind of making it up as you go along.
Exactly, which is why so many people view it as a stepping stone to higher office, because if you have no concrete role or responsibility, it becomes very easy for a politician to occupy it, agree with anybody, you agree with everybody rather, I should say, and then when that thing that we all agree about doesn't happen, it's the mayor's fault, it's the city council's fault.
Right, because you have no responsibility.
Right, so I always like to view things in terms of what are the metrics by which you would measure success of any elected official, be it in the city council or the mayor and executive. And so I think what New Yorkers should be aware of or be thinking about in terms of this upcoming public advocates race is who is giving you things by which you might measure their success, and who is coming up with programs that are beyond just I'm good on an issue or I'm good on every issue, because it's so easy to be good on every issue.
So important to think about. And as all these public advocate forums are happening, I know that there are 3 or 4 coming up in the next couple of weeks. Good to think of, and keep in mind.
Ask the questions,
Yeah, as you're listening to people talk, it's not just about an idea or supporting something, but what are they going to bring to the role to make it into something new and different and supporting the communities.
Yeah.
All right, on that note, see ya.
Laters.
That was good.